He's in his 80s, used to be Dean of the Chapel at Boston University. His name, Howard Thurman.
Religious experience is dynamic, it's fluid, it's effervescent, it's yeasty, all these words. But the mind can't handle that. So it has to imprison the religious experience in some way, get it bottled up. Then, when it gets quiet enough, it meaning the religious experience, then the mind draws a bead on it and extracts out of this ferment concepts, notions, dogmas, so that the religious experience will make sense to the mind. But meanwhile, the religious experience goes on experiencing. Therefore, whatever creed there is, whatever theology there is, it's always a little out of date. This is why I feel that once a religion is stated in terms of dogma, or intellections, perhaps, then it can become the source of propaganda. It has something that a handle, it can. But as long as the experience is vital, the only way that it can spread is by contagion, not by instruction, not by addressing the mind, but something you catch, as you catch the measles, for instance. That's what I mean.
When you speak like this, are you at one with people who would think this way in all traditions? You're not saying a Protestant thing.
No, it's the nature of religious experience, it seems to me, whatever kind it is.
One wall of his office is covered with citations, honorary degrees, awards, and in the middle is a faded photograph of his grandmother, who started life as a slave. He counts her first among those from whom he took his religious contagion.
My grandmother, for instance, who was a young woman when the Civil War was fought, and who therefore was a slave in North Florida, had the responsibility for taking care of us. My father died when I was very small, 7 years old, and my mother became the breadwinner. But my grandmother was the anchor person who held us. And whenever she observed that the water was getting low in my well, you know, or my sister's well, she would tell us something out of her past. And it was the same story always, and we waited for it. She said that when she was a young woman on this plantation, once a year, or maybe more frequent, I don't remember that detail, a slave minister, a minister who was a slave on a neighboring plantation, was permitted to have a religious service for the slaves. And always, it didn't matter what his subject was, he ended his sermon in the same way. She said he would stand and look at them and he would say, "You are not slaves, you are not niggers. You're God's children." And when my grandmother would say this, we would all wait for that moment, because a faraway look would come in our eyes, and just a slight stiffening of her spine. And there was a contagion which came to us as little children, that the creator of existence also created me. And therefore, with that sort of backing, I could absorb all the violences of life.